Culture to the World. On this episode of our Culture to the World, I'm going to tell you about the country of my birth, the country of my heart, the place I'll always call home, Guyana. Every day as I move around Guyana, I'm constantly reminded of my country's rich heritage, from place names to architecture to the people with whom I interact to the foods I eat. Guyana is the only country on the continent of South America that has English as its official language. The British, however, were not the country's first settlers or colonizers. The northern coast of South America, where Guyana lies, was first claimed by Spain. Spain never established a colony there, though. The Dutch were the first Europeans to establish a colony there. Guyana is divided into three counties, Demerara, Berbice, and Essequibo. These counties get their names from the country's main rivers. On a visit home a couple of years ago, I went on an Essequibo River tour courtesy of Odyssey Sightseeing Tours. The Essequibo is our largest river. It contains hundreds of islands, some of which are inhabited. Our tour took us from Perico on the east bank of the Essequibo River, first to Fort Island, formerly called Flag Island. Here I am with a couple of my friends posing on Fort Island. And this island was the home of a fort, Fort Zeelandia, and the court of policy for the Dutch colony of Essequibo. The building there, that housed the court of policy, and it also served as a church. Today, it's the Dutch Heritage Museum. And this is what's left of Fort Zeelandia and its armory. In this little video, we're actually walking and going into the ruins of what used to be the armory. And of course, because this was a fort, it was there for protection. And so obviously there were arms, there were weapons that were stored, and this was where they stored them in this building that we're entering now. We could just take a look at that. Now, when we left Fort Island, we went to Kike Overall. Kike Overall means sea overall. It is understandable why the fort was so named. It was built at the confluence of three rivers, the Essequibo, the Mazaruni, and the Cuyuni. Not much is left of this fort that once served as the center of Dutch administration of their colony of Essequibo. Bartica was our next stop on the tour. We then went on to Barkar Falls on the Mazaruni River, and then we stopped for lunch at Aruai Resort on the Mazaruni before returning to Perico. The Dutch established the first colonies in what is now Guyana. There was also a very brief period when the French ruled, and then beginning in the late 18th century until independence in 1966, the country was governed by the British. The trip up the Essequibo River served as a reminder of that aspect of my country's history and brought back to mind a poem by one of our renowned poets, the late A.J. Seymour. In this poem, Seymour highlights place names that derive from our Dutch, French, Spanish, British, and indigenous Amerindian heritage. It's called Name Poem, and I'm going to read it for you. Name Poem by A.J. Seymour. Beauty about us in the breath of names, known to us all, but murmured over softly, woven to breath of peace. If but a wind blows, all their beauty wakes. Quebana on the winey, Indian words, and peace asleep within the syllables. Kabakoburi and the Rupununi. Reverence is guessed in that soft hush of names. For battle music and the roll of drums, the shock and break of bodies locked in combat, the Tramin cliff above Imbaimadai. Guyana, Winey, our cousin water words. The Demerara, Desekipi, and Quarantine flow centuries before strange tongues bewitched their beauty into common county names. Through all the years before the Indians came, rocks at Tumatumari kept their grace, and Tukit, Amatuk, and Waratuk trained ear and eye for thundering Kaichur. And there are mountain tops that take the sun, jostling shoulders with seaward-eyed Roraima. These Amerindian names hold ancient sway beyond the European fingers reaching, forever reaching in. But nearer coast, words born upon Dutch tongues live in our speech. The sentinel that was Kaikoverall, Peterverwachtin, Vlissingen, and Stabroek, and sonorous toll of bells in Virginugin. For French remembrance, Le Souvenir, the silent and great tomb of an exile's anguish, Le Repentir, that city of the dead. Simple the heritage of English names, hid in adventure, beehive, cove and John, and in friendship, better hope, and land of Canaan, Garden of Eden, and so paradise. Out west are places blessed by Spanish towns, Santa Rosa, Whitechapel on a hill. Beauty about us in the breath of names. If but a wind blows, all their beauty wakes. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. Did you enjoy the poem? Share your thoughts about this video in the comments. And be sure to like and share the video. And if you're not yet a subscriber, be sure to subscribe to Our Culture to the World. See you soon. Bye now.